Right to go, councillors. So thank you, everyone. Welcome to an exciting evening. It's our first meeting with a public gallery, I think since I'd say March or April last year. So I'm really excited that we're back and we're back open to the public. It's fantastic. So tonight's a statutory meeting and I'll be in the chair a very short while, then I'll be out soon enough. Can I welcome everybody? Welcome to the meeting. Just a reminder, this meeting is live streamed and recorded, and the voices and images of those participating in the meeting and in the gallery may be captured as part of this recording. Can I acknowledge the traditional owners of the land on which we're meeting and pay our respects to their elders past and present? And on behalf of councillors, can I say that our councillors will have taken an oath to carry out their duties in the best interest of the people of Indigo Shire, and to do this in a fair and impartial manner. They are all committed to exercising the council's powers and functions to the best of their skills and judgment. Recording. Can I acknowledge the traditional owners of the land on which we're meeting and pay our respects to their elders past and present? And on behalf of councillors, can I say that our councillors will have taken an oath to carry out their duties in the best interest of the people of Indigo Shire, and to do this in a fair and impartial manner. They are all committed to exercising the council's powers and functions to the best of their skills and judgment. So we're just pausing for a technical problem here at the moment, sorry. On behalf of the councillors, can I say that you're right to go? Thank you. Are there any apologies or leave of absence for tonight? Nil. Are there any declarations of conflict of interest? Remembering that in regards to statutory meeting, issues in relation to nomination for councillor are not conflicts of interest as defined under the Act. No? Yes, I have, councillor. Thank you. Okay. So item 5.1 on the agenda is for information only. It's a meeting procedure about how the meeting will be run. Basically says that describes the agenda items for tonight, also describes the role of the CEO filling the chair until the mayor is appointed, and then the mayor will take over this meeting. Item 5.2 is setting of the mayoral term. So in this item, we decide whether or not the mayoral term shall be set for a period of 1 year or 2 years. Can I call for a motion on the mayoral term, please? Councillor Shepherd.
I'd like to nominate the mayoral term be for 1 year.
Seconded.
Thank you.
Councillor Croucher.
Yep.
Are there any other items would like to speak to that motion? Councillor Croucher would like to speak to it?
No, I think that's pretty straightforward. So.
Thank you. I'll put the motion. All those in favour?
Yeah.
Carried unanimously. Thank you. Item 5.3 is the election of the mayor. So before I get into calling for nominations itself, I might invite the outgoing mayor, Councillor O'Connor, if she would like to say a few words as outgoing mayor.
Thank you, CEO. I would like to say a few things. Firstly, it's been a big part of my life being mayor for 4 out of the last 5 years. And so I guess I think of it as one fairly long term, really, even though it's taken in 2 different councils, but many of us have worked together both before I was mayor on the previous council, then our last council and this one. So I feel like I've got to know my fellow councillors really well over that time. And I want to thank you all for your support and your willingness to work so cooperatively. You know, when we have very divergent views and we represent lots of different opinions and parts of our community, I think I'm always very pleased with the way we work as colleagues and feel that it's been a great privilege to be mayor with all of you. I want to thank the staff, in particular our executive team headed by Trevor. And I know I did say earlier, but I want to really reiterate the fact that this has been such a challenging time for our organisation with COVID, obviously for our community as well. But just speaking with the organisation at the moment, I know the personal cost that it has been and the efforts that you have all made and gone above and beyond to make sure that our organisation and our community was so well looked after and advocated for throughout the time that I've been mayor during COVID. And before that as well. But I think, this has been a very unusual time. So thank you to all of you. And I have always been able to place great trust in your advice, in your information, even if we haven't always agreed on things. Again, it's been a very collegial way to work, and I really appreciate that. And of course, I want to thank the community. Firstly, I want to thank the people that have sent me just such lovely messages of support, and people have stopped me in the street, people have rung me, sent me messages and on social media, and it has meant a huge amount. As I have said, the reason I'm stepping down is after the loss of my father, I want to spend time with my mother, and I'm very fortunate to have the opportunity to do that. So I really appreciate all that lovely support and good wishes I've had from people. And lastly, I just want to say this is a community I'm immensely proud of. There are 32 communities actually in Indigo Shire, and we're one shire. And of course that creates lots of issues because there's so many different needs and demands and wishes from people. But everybody that I come across only wants the best thing for their community or their cause or their passion. And obviously we can't always deliver all of that either, but I really respect and value the fact that people are so committed and proud of this wonderful part of the world that we live in. And I guess as a legacy, finally, the things that I'm really proud of is the action we saw around diversity in our community and saying we stand for absolutely welcoming everybody, irrespective of their faith, their creed, their culture, their sexual preferences, their whatever. You're part of our community and we value you regardless. Climate action, this is something that we are facing into the future, and Indigo Shire has absolutely taken the lead on this, and I'm incredibly proud of that. We're known for it, we're seen as leaders, and much of that has actually come from our community, so I want to thank them for that. And we are now working on improving and understanding better our relationship with our First Nations people, and that's a great legacy, a really important thing, and I hope that we continue that work into the future. So thanks to you all. As a small rural shire, I think we are a leader. I think we are a shining light actually in Victoria, and I think that we punch well above our weight, and I've been incredibly honoured to be your mayor. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor O'Connor. And just to say, it's been an honour and privilege to serve you for 3 years of your 4 years as mayor. And we said our private goodbyes today, so I won't say more on that. Can I now please invite nominations for the office of the mayor? Councillor Crouch, I think I see your hand first.
Okay. I'd like to nominate Bernard Gaffney.
Councillor Gaffney, would you like to accept that nomination?
Yes, I would.
Do I have a second of that nomination? Councillor Horn. Seconded.
I'd like to second that
Thank you.
motion, or that idea. Thank you.
Are there any other nominations for the office of mayor? Councillor O'Connor.
I'd like to nominate Councillor Goldsworthy.
Councillor Goldsworthy, will you accept that nomination?
Yes, I do.
Do I have a seconder for that? Councillor Shepherd seconds that. Are there any other nominations? Okay, there being no further nominations, I'll invite each candidate to, if they so choose, address the meeting for up to 5 minutes on your candidacy. I'll call your name in alphabetical order by surname, so I invite Councillor Gaffney.
Thank you, CEO. First of all, I'd like to say that I'll be a full-time mayor. I'll work right across the Shire from Wagonia to Wagonia. We live in challenging times. We've been fortunate to get bushfire grants and stimulus grants from both the state and federal governments. These grants are about to dry up and things are going to get a lot tougher. I've advocated for ambulance emergency response times. It's unfortunate that during the last quarter, the number of calls from Indigo Shire for emergencies has increased by 19.7%. This is a reason for major concern. There's been a slight increase in the response time of 1.5 minutes from a very poor low base. We need to support small business and our major employers, our farmers, our children, our elderly, and those in need. If I became the mayor, I would certainly meet with Beechworth Health, Indigo North Health, Yakandanda Health, the winemakers, Uncle Toby's, Saputo, Ambulance Victoria, the Police Local Area Command, the Beechworth Correctional Centres, and a number of aged care providers. The most important role for a mayor is advocacy. I've done it in the past and I'll certainly continue to do it and hopefully obtain the best results for Indigo Shire. We must support our volunteers. They are the backbone of this shire. We also need to zone more land for affordable housing and for industry.
Thank you, CEO. Firstly, I'd like to congratulate the outgoing Mayor, Councillor Jenny O'Connor, for her service. You've been fantastic for our local community, for our state community, and at times federally. So thank you for all that you've done and for the advocacy that you've provided for us. What I'd like to say in relation to this is that I don't covet this position, but I am asking for your support and your vote for this mayoral election. I've been a very active member of the council, most recently with Indigo, the Cultural Heritage Advisory Committee, been on working parties for Buckminster Park, the Caravan Park Strategy, Swimming Pool Strategy, and the Rail Trail Steering Committee. I support our environmental policies, including the declaration of a climate emergency, the ongoing transformation of our fleet of vehicles to electric, the aspiration and work towards being net carbon zero. I firmly believe cycle tourism, including the rail trail from Beechworth to Yakandanda, the Epic Mountain Bike Trail and the Rutherglen Wine Loop cycle loop will all be an important component of our economic recovery and prosperity. Cycle tourism, heritage tourism, agriculture, food, wine and brewing are all an integral to lifting our local economy out of the economic malaise of the COVID lockdown. I have a history of supporting the budget process and not voting against the budget because I don't agree with one aspect of it. I have a history of supporting our LGBTQIA+ communities, including supporting the same-sex marriage debate when it was going on a few years ago, attending Ida Hobbit Day celebrations and marching with the community through the streets of Beechworth with the mayor. I want that our mayor is reflective of the values of the majority of this council, and I can do that. Thank you.
Thank you, Councillor. I'll now put the nominations to the vote. I will first ask for votes, and remember each councillor may only vote once. For the candidacy for Councillor Gaffney, can I have a show of hands for those for voting for Councillor Gaffney? 1, 2, 3, 4 votes. So Councillors Price, Gaffney, Croucher and Horn. Can I ask for votes for Councillor Goldsworthy? I have 3 votes, Councillor Goldsworthy, Shepherd and O'Connor. And on that basis, I declare Councillor Gaffney the new mayor for the next 12 months. Congratulations.
First of all, I'd like to mention Jenny O'Connor. She's been a mayor for 4 of the last 5 years, and she's done a really good job under very trying circumstances in 20 and 21. And we're not over it yet, but you held the team together. Thank you. I'd like to thank the CEO for chairing the meeting. I'm really looking forward to it. We live in very challenging times, and I'm sure we're up for the challenge. I'll go straight to the statutory meeting agenda. Item 5.4, that the deputy mayoral term be set at 1 or 2 years. Somebody like to move a motion? Councillor O'Connor,
I'd move 2 years, the deputy mayor.
2 years.
Yep.
Do we have a seconder for that motion?
I'll second that.
Seconded by Councillor Horn. Would anybody else like to speak to the motion? I'll now put the motion that the deputy mayor's term be for 2 years. All those in favour? Unanimous. Congratulations, Councillor Croucher.
We haven't elected the mayor yet. We haven't elected
Oh,
it.
no, sorry, for 2 terms. I'll now call for nominations for the deputy mayor. That's right. Councillor Price.
I'll nominate Councillor Peter Croucher.
Do we have a seconder for Councillor Croucher? That's right. Councillor O'Connor. Do we have any other nominations for the deputy mayor? I think I've already called for that vote, haven't I? All those in favour of Councillor Croucher being the deputy mayor for 2 years. Do you accept that role, Councillor?
Yes, I will.
All right. All those in favour? Unanimous. Congratulations.
Can I say a few words, Mayor Gaffney?
Yes, you can, Councillor Croucher.
You may think I'm the perennial deputy mayor, because if I do go the next 2 years, it'll be something like 6 or 7 times. But I thoroughly enjoy the role of deputy mayor. It's the sort of thing you can hand up. I can remember being at school and I was always vice principal. It was always good to be able to hand the real problems over to the principal, and I could sort of see this as well. I thoroughly enjoyed my year this year as deputy mayor. It's particularly to Jenny, who I think has done a really great job this year. And Jenny, I sort of see you in 2 ways, because last year, I was constituent of Indigo Shire, and even as a constituent, you were always available there. We were able to have discussions about different things and so forth, which was really great to see a mayor being able to talk to a commoner like that, which was really, really great. And this year, as your deputy mayor, I've seen how hard you have worked. I've seen through the difficulties that you've been through as well, and you've done a really wonderful job. And I'd like to wish you all the best and welcome back to the clan of councillors. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Peter. Thank you. And congratulations. You're a great deputy mayor.
Thank you.
Yes, I'd like to add that I think you've been deputy, this is my 5th term as mayor, and I think you've been deputy at least 3, if not 4, and we've certainly worked well as a team. Item 6.1 is the 2020-2021 council meeting schedule and administration. There's a number of dates mentioned there about the council meeting dates, including the statutory meeting. And there's a slight change that after the statutory meeting on the 22nd of November 2022, that there'll be a council meeting straight after the statutory meeting. The motion then goes on about the preliminaries before the council to notify the gallery that it's live streamed, acknowledge the traditional custodians of the land, and reconfirmation of councillor oath. Would somebody like to move that recommendation? Moved by Councillor Price. Do we have a seconder? Councillor Horn. Sorry, Councillor Price.
Just pleased with the schedule for the meeting dates, and similarly with the preliminaries. And I think it's a good idea to have an ordinary meeting follow after the statutory meeting. This year is a good example of why it is a good idea, because we have 3 meetings in quick succession coming towards the end of the year.
Sorry, Councillor Horn. Would anybody else like to speak to the motion? The only difficulty that I have is that on the 22nd of November 2022, we might have a mayor who has never been the mayor before, and they might get us surprised at the statutory meeting, and then they've got to immediately launch into what could be a lengthy council meeting. But that's only a comment. Would anybody else like to speak to the motion? I now put the motion. All those in favour? Carried. Item 7.1 is the appointments to council committees and external bodies. We'll go through each one. The recommendation is that council appoints councillor representatives to the following external organisations and council committees as detailed in attachment 1. The first is under Audit and Finance. Would the members who are currently on that like to remain? Would anybody else like to become a member of that committee? Members are Councillor Price and Gaffney. The next one is the Finance Committee. The current status is that all 7 councillors are members of the Finance Committee. Is anybody against that? The Advisory Committee is the CEO Performance Review Committee, and all councillors are a member of that committee. There's nobody against that. The Indigo Community Access Committee is currently Councillors Croucher and Price. Wish to remain? The Indigo Cultural Heritage Advisory Committee is Councillors O'Connor and Councillor O'Connor.
I was just going to suggest, I would like to recommend that we add an additional councillor to that committee, and I would actually like to recommend Councillor Shepherd. So we have 3 councillors on that committee, which would have to then go to that committee to change the terms of reference.
Okay, so it's Councillors Shepherd, Councillor O'Connor and Councillor.
Well, it's currently Councillor Goldsworthy and
Goldsworthy.
myself.
So
And
we've got
then
3.
I'm putting a motion that we add a 3rd councillor, Councillor Shepherd, and that we therefore agree to having 3 councillors on that committee, and that we then amend the terms of reference to allow for 3.
So in terms of motions, we're talking about amending this, and at
Yep.
the end we'll ask for a single motion.
Yep.
For the attachment, with the amendments being the addition of Councillor Shepherd.
Yep, sure.
And any other changes that come. So we'll do one motion at the end.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
The next advisory committee is the Indigo Environment Advisory Committee. The members of that committee are Councillor Horn and Councillor O'Connor.
I think you missed Indigo, Mayor. Indigo.
That's next.
Oh, I've got them in a different order, sorry.
That's all right.
Got mine's ahead, sorry. Go. Yeah, I've got Indigo and then Environment Advisory Committee.
No. So the members of that committee are Councillor Horn and Councillor O'Connor, is that right? Yep. Now, Indigo, which is currently Councillor Shepherd and Goldsworthy, that remains as, and Councillor Horn. The next is the Indigo Shire Council Community Grants Awards Advisory Committee. It's currently Croucher and Gaffney. Is everybody happy about that? No issues? The next is the Wagonia Railway Land Development Committee, which is currently Councillors Gaffney and Price. Is everybody happy with that? Yes. The external committees, the Alliance of Shires and Councils of the Upper Murray, ACSM. That's currently the Mayor. In the past, I think if councillors wanted to go to that committee, they were, yes. So really, the other councils who are members of that, I don't think it met at all last year though, but it might change this year with different mayors.
There's one scheduled.
Is there?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the mayor goes, but if other councillors wish to go and raise things, they're more than welcome to. The next one's the Toro Island Friendship Committee. Councillor Croucher. The Australian Local Government Women's Association Victoria Branch. I think that's all the female members of this council. The Goulburn Broken Greenhouse Alliance. I think that's changed its name. Councillor Shepherd, what's it called now, please?
Goulburn Murray Climate Alliance.
And you're the only member on that committee?
And Sophie's a sub, yeah.
Yep. The next one's the Hume Region Local Government Network. I think that's the Mayor and CEO. The next one, Jane still might help me out, but I think it's the Murray-Darling Basin Authority Hume to Yarrawonga Waterway Management Advisory Group. So that's the Mayor and one councillor. Councillor Crouch is interested. Is anybody else interested in going onto that committee? All right, the Mayor and Councillor Croucher. The next is the Lake Hume Recreational Coordinating Committee. Councillor Croucher. The next one's the Municipal Association of Victoria representative on the MAV. I think that's the Mayor. The next one's Murray Arts, which is Councillor Shepherd and Councillor Crouch is the sub or part of a subgroup of that committee. Yes.
Can I also change it? I think it says twice a year it meets, but it meets at a minimum of 4 times a year. So quarterly would be good.
Okay. Thank you.
Is Councillor Hornweek, was she under you?
You're the sub. Yep. Did you get that, Jane?
The Horn was the sub, and the suggestion is Councillor Crouch would now be the sub.
I don't mind, but I would like to.
On which one's this?
Murray Arts.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, Murray Arts. So is that settled?
No, not really.
All right. Murray Arts is Councillor Shepherd.
Is there only one representative on it? Is there, councillor? Is there only one rep on it? Is there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're
Well, I was going to go
The
to sub, but Councillor Horn, you can go. You can be the sub. I don't really mind. Well,
so the sub is Councillor Croucher. Is that right? Yes.
mm.
The next one's the Murray-Darling Association, which is the Mayor and Councillor Gaffney. So from the Mayor, would you like to be?
No.
Would you like to be the sub?
No.
Oh, okay, would anybody else like to be on that committee? No, one will be enough. That'll be me. The Ovens and Murray Regional Assembly, I think that's the Mayor.
Yeah.
And Rural Councils Victoria, we've got the Vice President in our midst. And you'll stay on that,
Deputy
Councillor
Chair.
Connor?
I'm the deputy chair. Yeah, that's for the term.
Yep.
That appointment.
I think that's the end of those committees. Is that right, CEO?
Sorry, Russell?
North East West.
That's Councillor Shepherd.
So, Mr. Mayor, we have, by my reckoning, as per the attachment, with the following changes, that an extra councillor be added to the Indigo Cultural Heritage Advisory Committee, and that's Councillor Shepherd, and that the Hume, Murray-Darling Basin, Lake Hume to Yarrawonga Waterway Management Advisory Group is now the Mayor and Councillor Croucher, and the Murray Arts is now Councillor Shepherd with the sub as Councillor Croucher. So they're the amendments.
And Councillor Horn, did you want to still be? No, okay, thank you.
And the change, and we'll note the change of name
Yeah.
for which we've captured. Yeah. So that's the recommendation. So
Yep.
that's the motion.
Okay. So would somebody like to move that motion? Councillor Price, seconded by Councillor Croucher. Is anybody against that motion? Carried. Item 7.2 is the appointment of a chair to the Audit and Risk Committee. The recommendation that Council appoints Mr. Ross Kearney as chair of the Audit and Risk Committee from the 23rd of November 2021 until 5 p.m. the day of the annual statutory meeting of the Council in November 2022. Somebody like to move that? Moved by Councillor Price, seconded by Councillor Horn. Councillor Price?
Yeah, very happy to move the motion that Ross Kearney become the chair of the audit committee. The independent members usually have a discussion to work it out between themselves, and they rotate through. And obviously, as councillors, we sign off on that. But very competent member of a very good committee. So happy to move that motion.
So, Councillor Horn, would you like to speak to the motion? All right, I now put the motion. Is anybody against the motion? Carried. We're just about to finish it. I would just like to thank Councillor for having the confidence in me acting as the Mayor of Indigo Shire Council. I think it's an honour, and I'm very, very pleased with that result. I now close the meeting. Thank you for your attendance.